So Logan Mackenzie has been back. She's back, baby. She had to say something. She needs to talk. And I'd be more than happy to listen to her. I had a lot to say about her already, and I already listened to this for a little bit. And believe me, Logan is going to give me some good information here and there. She has an agenda, remember? We talked about it the last time. You can visit my older video about this. I think I did it I don't know, like a month ago, right? Feel free to look this up. Um, and yeah.
Just a clarification for somebody in chat. Logan Ann Mackenzie is Daniel's first cousin.
Okay.
Is very close to the family and lives, relatively close by. She has been on our chat previously.
I know.
Cheryl, Christina, it's the first time she's been on my chat, and I welcome her. And
So Cheryl was, I think, the girl on the beach, right, with Malaya. So I guess they want to give both sides something. They want to, I guess, out of fairness, have somebody close to Daniel and somebody close to Malaya speaking, which of course is good for them. They get the audience for everybody. But I listened to a little bit to Cheryl, and it was about the blanket, which I will get more into later. If you watched my last video, you will know how important the issue is with Daniel Martel not wanting to tell us what the children were wearing, but he wants an Amber Alert. Are you kidding me? He wants an Amber Alert, and he refuses to tell us what the children are wearing. This is why we need to dissect every little thing. And that's why I also apologize when I have listened to too much stuff and shared it on my own channel. Or if you thought I was telling you guys to listen to a bunch of stuff that I wouldn't listen to, I have not. But make up your own mind, people. So, let's get to Logan.
It was from what she says, she was there at the time of the search, and she is affiliated in some way or a friend or something to Malaya. Is that correct, Cheryl?
Yes.
Okay.
So yes, back to Cheryl. I didn't listen to, okay, she was there at the time of the search. She's Malaya's friend. Okay, cool. Feel free to bring anything to my attention, possibly with the timestamp. That would be even more amazing. Because I want to know if there's anything important. If not, I will listen on my own. And basically, I'm sitting there on the hunt, right? Or I'm sitting there like a spider on a web, waiting for that fly. You know what I mean? That's how I feel most of the time. Sometimes I listen to 10, 20 minutes and I'm like, ugh, shoot me. And all of a sudden, I hear something that's really, really important. So that's why I'm getting to Logan right now.
I've watched your lives a few times. I just haven't said anything.
Okay, Cheryl.
That was Cheryl.
Yeah, somebody in chat was just asking, they said, who are these people? Can you please clarify for us? Now, Logan, I did have a question for you.
Sure, honey.
Did you watch Daniel's interview on CBC?
By the way, Logan is always really, really confident, right? And I think that she views herself like a few steps above the others. Definitely a few steps above Malaya, but also Daniel. She probably feels kind of like she needs to be his mommy right now. You know what I mean? Like a smarter version of his mommy to help him. And she's extremely confident, and she has given away a lot of information. through her statements, through my analyses about the CPS. I already knew through her statements that there were serious problems with CPS, ongoing problems. When she told us he proven himself again and again. Why would you need to prove yourself unless there was something in your past? Unless something had been going on and you needed to sort of get to a clear page, you know what I mean? Kind of get rid of a stigma, or have them forget about you for a little bit, right? CPS.
The new one?
Yeah.
Just parts of it. I watched the full part of the grandmothers. I didn't watch fully Daniel's yet.
Okay.
I was speaking with Daniel yesterday, though.
You what?
Yeah, I'm not surprised they're in constant contact.
I was speaking with Daniel yesterday. He was at my house, and he was telling me that he did that interview.
Why won't he?
Wait, when was this? 2 days ago? And you just now found out about the interview? Are you kidding me? Wasn't that interview like 2 weeks ago? Was it 2 weeks ago? I don't know. It was, unless there's a new one. But this is kind of surprising to me to hear that. I watched the interview. I got right to it. Well, I got emailed about it, and I clicked right on it. And however, within a couple hours, it was all over. The suggestion was already there everywhere, right? I mean, I got alerted from many different places, be it Twitter, and also, well, I had clicked on the video, but it kept getting suggested to me. So I don't know how Logan could have missed this one.
Come on my live, Logan.
That little giggle, right? Like, please come on my live, please. I need the viewers.
Because he wants to stick with factual,
the
way he said it was.
What? You see her stuttering right now. Everything she's doing right now shows me that what she is saying is far removed from the actual conversation that she had with Daniel. So they were talking, of course, and I cannot tell you exactly, but I did tell you what she knows based on the language she has used. But what I'm seeing right now is that what she is going to state is going to be very different from what Daniel told her. Why there's no way in hell he's going to go on any of these lives. Especially, he talked with her on private chat, right? On private messaging, on what you call it, Facebook, right? Facebook Messenger. Okay, let's get that out of the way. He did talk to her, Charmaine. And when they published it, they praised him. And they said, well, he has nothing to do with it, we can tell, right? Okay, good. So Daniel was probably happy with it. But after a few days, I guess too many people came their way and said, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? All this deception that Daniel... And then, they flip-flopped. And of course, they will say, we have a right to flip-flop, whatever. But take this always into consideration whenever you watch a channel, that you need to make up your own mind here. And I'm pretty sure that when Daniel finally heard them flip-flopping against him, he was like, oh, no way. Because he wants to stick with factual the way he said it was. Yeah, how did he say it actually? Tell me that. Why don't you give me the exact way that he told you? Don't make it up for him.
But he knew this, and he wants to stick with the more factual. I don't know. That's what
I don't know. That's a good one. She does know. And so she gets really stuck with this first question. Unless she'd been on there already, I don't know, I don't care, but this is the timestamp I was given. So I'm going right from here. Actually, I was given 108. I'm at 106 because when I was at 108, I realized, yeah, I gotten on a little bit earlier, like, and I realized that 108.30 is not where the interesting part begins. I want to see how she starts this, and she doesn't disappoint. She does not want to tell us the real reason, so she actually, look, she gets flustered immediately. Simple question like that.
He tried to tell me anyway.
Oh, that's what he tried to tell me anyway. Is she now flip-flopping? Is she now... I know she's not flip-flopping. She's on Daniel's side. But she probably has seen a bunch of stuff, maybe mine, and doesn't want to sound too ridiculous. And by the way, yeah, you can say, I don't know, ask him, but that would be avoidance too, right? If you saw him, because you told us you were talking to him yesterday. What were you talking about? Don't tell me you were not talking about media appearances and what everybody online is saying so meanly so about Daniel. Don't try to tell me that.
The
I
mainstream.
asked him if he wanted to come on because, and he goes, he was lining up this interview here, so I'm not sure what's going on now.
Okay.
But
Okay, well, that interview's long gone.
ask again.
Okay, I would like that. And let him know that I do now have, and it's all actually because of the situation that happened with your live, I do have a private, dedicated live room for subscribers only.
Yeah, if you're in there, of course, I'm not going to participate. But if there's anything, please send it my way, guys. Send it my way, just the audio. I just want to hear her statements,
We love that.
Yeah, which gives a much greater.
And yeah, I've been given gift subscriptions before, so I can access certain parts of different channels. I mean, the membership parts. And I don't participate in there unless I'm asked to or invited to do so. I just want to listen and get the statements and dissect them.
Control to the environment. No one outside can watch. It has to be paid subscribers only.
That's what.
Yeah, you're living in a dream world. People are actually recording those. Yeah, but whatever it takes to get Logan on board, right?
He said about my interview too. He said mine got so spliced and diced.
Yeah, and
spliced and diced? What the hell? I dissected you. I took your statements at face value, and I assumed you're going to tell me the truth, but I allowed you to talk me out of it, and you surely did. And you told me a lot more with your words than maybe the people that you talk to on a daily basis would be able to hear. I didn't splice or dice nothing. I went through the whole interview and analyzed it one by one. So I don't do these, I didn't cut out certain parts and then re-edited it. I don't do that. I want everybody to hear the context along with me when I analyze it. And sometimes I analyze before, sometimes I'll hear it for the first time. And then I go back.
If he would like to do that, I will send him a gift subscription.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to pay for one, and I will give you one. And if you would both like to come in, I would love to have you both.
Awesome. I will get a hold of him.
Okay.
And see what he says. I am going to go get my children here soon. So
you see, now he's feeling so much heat from the people online, and I think that the media, the what do you call it, CBC or the media in Canada, I think they're just done interviewing him. Seriously, I think they're tired of him. They did this last interview, and they're waiting to hear from the RCMP to get a green light to keep on going. You see, that's the problem. That's the problem, Daniel, that on YouTube, they will invite you there. And you have a need to talk. You want to keep promoting your cockamamie story. And believe me, you will now either go, he's already starting to post a lot on Facebook. That's already the sign that he can't be quiet. He can't sit back. He cannot, just let the flow go. He feels a very, very strong need to participate and say what he thinks is very smart for people to look into a different direction, like Malaya's direction, for example. So this dude is obviously continuing to try to somehow persuade people and share and sell his nice guy image and all of that. But he cannot do it without finger pointing. And he's getting pretty desperate, in my opinion, man. How you think he felt when he saw the picture of Malaya at the beach? Daniel wants to talk. But he only wants to talk about whatever he thinks will make people like him. What a good father he was. What a horrible mother Malaya was.
Okay.
We'll have to leave this live.
Okay, one question, Logan.
Poor honey.
You, okay, so.
Did I miss how she was on there before? I probably did, right? Oh, maybe not. Because she comes, well, I'm not getting onto their life. I'm not 50. No, I didn't miss. I don't like to jump around channels, By the way, I don't watch 4-hour lives, people. And I'm not encouraging anyone to do so either. But I like it when there are good parts. Doesn't matter what channel it's on. And if a good channel has nothing on, I don't watch that either. I want the facts. I want the statements. That's what I need. And I do get from Logan right now that she's probably getting tired of it. And yeah, she may tell Daniel, you need to come on with me because you need to now start carrying your own weight, dude. Don't expect me to do all of this because now people are referring to me as your mouthpiece, which I happen to be. She has a family with 3 children. So obviously she is no longer that interested in being in the limelight. Well, maybe a part of her enjoys it, the intention. But we will see. We don't know exactly what the conversations were all about with Daniel. But they do feel a need to communicate with each other.
I'm sure you'll watch his CBC interview.
Yeah, I'm going to watch it here when I get home from picking up the children.
Now,
you had mentioned in my.
When was this interview done? I'm not going to go through the whole thing just to find out, but,
About his mother's dog in the RV barking.
And I'm very interested in the dog, too. If Belinda may have, noticed anything when she was on the property. Was the dog acting strange? Was he sort of drawn to any certain area on the property?
Just shortly after 9 on Friday the 2nd. And when we were talking about the dog, you had made stated that the dog is really triggered.
When Lily does that screaming?
So I wonder how that went down in the household. When Lily does that screaming. And interestingly, we have heard it. We have heard that screaming in the video of the birthday party for Jack. So I'm wondering at what other times she may have screamed. When she came into the room multiple times and Jack was out, was she screaming? Did something happen to Jack and she kept on screaming? Were they sick and tired of her screaming to begin with? Daniel felt a need to tell us they were going wild with Malaya, the kids. But with him, they were well behaved, right? How did you accomplish that, Daniel? How did you accomplish to get these two children to be very well behaved when they're with you, while they were completely wild with Malaya? How did your mother feel about Lily screaming when she does that screaming? When Lily does that screaming, she's telling us it happened on a regular basis, right? She does that. It's present tense. Present tense she uses. This is something she's done on a regular basis. So much so the screaming is still on her mind. How did that go over with Daniel's mom, Daniel's brother? When Lily is doing the screaming, not only does she do the screaming, but the dog goes crazy. Did your mom put pressure on you to keep Lily quiet and cut it out? I'm pretty sure that didn't go over well at all on a regular basis. Now we're learning a little bit of what was actually going on there. So this dog was going nuts when Lily screamed. And I'm thinking what I've said before, based on him not wanting to tell us what they were wearing. They had something on that they would go to sleep in. And that could have happened, something could have happened to Jack around bedtime. Maybe later, maybe a little earlier. But something happened and Lily was screaming. That was my initial thought, because he said Jack was out. And then he said in the kitchen. Jack was out. And Lily kept coming into the room multiple times, people. Multiple times she came into the room. What did she want? And did something happen? And Lily kept screaming. And at night, that's when the mom woke up because her dog went nuts at night. Or in the late evening. Or in the evening. Mom was taking a nap, remember? He told us Mom was taking a nap. And she woke up from him screaming for the kids. No, 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 Daniel, you were not. At least not this morning. And it wasn't you who was screaming. I believe that was also experiential memory of Lily screaming when something had happened to Jack. And it was probably at night when they should have been in bed. And when he said Malaya had this look of guilt or surprise on her face because his mom was home. I believe the was home referred to his trailer, not Mom being in her home, but Mom coming into his home. Maybe she was saying, keep Lily quiet, my dog is going nuts and I'm trying to sleep here. You follow me? The dots are connecting with their statements. Even when he's lying to us, even when he's trying to deceive us, even when he's selling us some complete BS story. whatever we try to hide is on our mind more than anything else, which is why there is so much leakage. And even though he tries to give us a story about what supposedly happened that morning, information from what actually happened that particular night keeps coming in. And that was the scream. But that was from Lily. The nap that Mom took. Yes, she was already ready for bed and lying down. The dog went nuts. She went out of her house and she went into their home to see what's going on. Maybe she was going to have a word with Lily. Maybe she was going to have a word with Malaya or Daniel to say enough is enough. She's getting older, her scream is getting louder, and my dog is going crazier.
Yeah, mainly by Lily screaming, and is triggered by the kids.
Yes, because, well, what animal isn't triggered by animals?
What animal isn't triggered by animals? So in a minute, they're going to tell you, oh, somebody in chat brings it up that you made the statement. And oh my God. But you know what? What animal isn't triggered by animals? Which animals are you talking about? Jack and Lily? They're not your biological relatives. How did you see them? How did you see them? As Malaya's baggage? Something you just had to deal with? Do you think they acted like animals? Do you think that Lily's scream or behavior is comparable to an animal? We cannot let this go, people. If your child is missing, would you make such a slip to run?
When they run around screaming and yelling.
Oh my God. I believe Logan, in her own mind, is comparing Jack and Lily to animals running around screaming and yelling. And that may have entered her language in the past when talking to Daniel, that these kids run around and scream like animals. She hasn't said anything in terms of what did she say about Jack and Lily? Did she say anything about them? Anything significant? I listened to her interview. I don't remember anything. It wasn't about Jack and Lily at all. There was no appeal for, if you have Jack and Lily, please bring them back to us. We miss them. Did she say any kind words about them? I mean, it's not as bad, of course, as Cassie Bowersox when she talks about Sebastian. Well, Animal, the comparison, that is pretty bad. That is, I mean, this is actually very, very bad. But I don't think she had, unlike with Kathy Bowersox, I don't see her being involved in this disappearance at all. That's the difference. That's the point I was trying to make just now. But I'm going to make an assumption right now. Nobody in Daniel's family that came around was too pleased with Lily. Period. She's thinking about something. She's thinking about the way that she views or how she compares, what she compares Jack and Lily to. And people have said they were pretty much running wild in the yard, and Daniel told us they're wild with Malaya. We are talking about two missing kids here, man. And if they're not in the woods, if they're not They couldn't have walked away. Impossible. Even Daniel says that now, right? Well, I believed her when. So why the hell were you searching the whole time, idiot? Just to look good, just to look active, just so you don't have to, you know, do any more fake crying in front of the camera. That's really what it is. But you don't expect anybody to talk about missing children in any negative way, man. And I know I'm comparing it again to this Norm Macdonald joke when he talks about whenever somebody's missing, he made fun of it, how suddenly these people become the best people in the world, and especially children. They become complete angels. Anything that they may have done that may have annoyed you, you're kicking yourself and say you don't even, it doesn't even enter your brain. If somebody would say it, you would say, "Shut the hell up! How dare you say that? That was nothing." Yes, my daughter. Every child is annoying sometimes. How dare you bring that up? That is so unexpected, man. What's expected is that these kids become the perfect angels, no matter what. No matter what may have gone on in the past, no matter what they may have done. And I don't see them having done anything bad. They were stuck in this trailer and mom wasn't happy and they had to somehow entertain themselves. And Lily was very much looking out for Jack, I believe. She was very protective. And sometimes the daughters do the mother's work for their smaller siblings. They sort of fill in the blanks. They see this helpless little brother there who never has a smile on his face, who always looked very serious, not carefree at all. And she had that need to protect him, I believe. And I believe something happened to Jack first. And Lily was out of her mind. So whatever screams she had before, these screams were those older screams were nothing compared to those. And everything I'm stating is my opinion and my opinion only. Everybody here is innocent until proven guilty. And I'm following their language. I'm following their deception, the PLAID system, PLAIDS, priorities, leakage, avoidance, intentions, deception, and sensitivities. And this is a very sensitive issue to her, the way that Lily screamed. And now imagine, with the dog going crazy on top of that, yes, I think the mother came in. And that's what he leaked. Not what happened the morning after, but that evening, that night, or that night.
Triggered by kids, yeah. And I had asked you the specific. I had said to you, well,
even she says, yeah, triggered by kids, right? Correcting her, but she doesn't. Of course, she wants these people to be on. And the extreme case would be Granny's watching with Chris Proudfoot, just sucking up to him. Anything stupid he says, yeah, maybe she correct him and explaining things for him, even if he says something completely out of place, something completely stupid. She will be like, oh, yeah, what you meant was, oh, I see some of you guys commenting. It's great. Thank you so much. Yeah, welcome everybody. Thank you for joining. Thank you very, very much for joining, people. I appreciate how you participate here. Having said this,
wouldn't the dog have barked if somebody had walked on the property?
I'm not 100% sure because
I'm not 100% sure. What does it tell us? Going by her recent protective statements, she's telling us probably. Yeah, maybe for sure, but I'm not 100%. You see? When people say I'm not 100% sure, you can say that when you're really, really certain. But hey, I'm not 100%. Look, nothing is, what's 100% in life, right? Yeah, maybe the dog had too much to eat that night. Maybe the dog would have, if the dog fell asleep after eating a whole caribou. I don't know. Yeah, maybe he wouldn't have woken up, right? Maybe he wouldn't have barked. When somebody says to you, no, I don't think so, it's pretty reliable. Or I doubt it or some, but I'm not 100% sure. The moment you bring percentages in there, you can say that easily, even if you're 99.9% sure, right?
Precisely, that's exactly what I was getting at. I couldn't remember precisely your words, but you had said, yeah, I don't know, but you said, I do know that the dog is triggered by the sound of the children. Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
and the only reason I raised this is that Daniel said in the CBC interview
Yes.
that he just recently did that, or the CBC had stated that the dog barks at everything.
I don't remember that, but you know what? Since you have Logan on and you are not here to catch her in any lies or anything, quite the opposite actually, but you still bring it up. Who said that? I believe you. The dog barks at everything. I do believe that. I believe if a stranger, maybe even if the family came home, the dog started barking. But the bottom line is the dog would have barked, probably, very likely, if not close to 100%, had a bunch of strangers come on the property and taken the children out, right? There's no way Daniel and Malaya could have slept through that. The combination of people coming in there and the dog barking. That's the point here.
I can never hear the dog when I get there. The dog's always my grandmother. My aunt always has the dog in her RV. So if I'm not paying attention for the dog, I ain't listening for the dog.
If I am not paying attention to for the dog, I ain't listening for the dog. I'm not saying that the dog barked up a storm here. That's not what I'm saying. But you're telling us I ain't listening for the dog. What exactly are you listening for? She doesn't tell us that the dog didn't bark. She doesn't say to us she never heard the bark, or the dog didn't make, I didn't hear anything. She says she wasn't listening for it. She wasn't paying attention to it. That is very different. That is very different from being unable to hear the dog. Of course you were not listening for him, but I'm pretty damn sure you heard him every time you went there. That's my guess. And that is the space that this statement allows us. One more time.
Yeah, I don't know, but you said, I do know that the dog is triggered by the sound of the children. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and the only reason
You hear that? Yeah. She's like, oh, what's coming now, man? And as I've said, if the kids didn't go into the woods, like now everybody says there's no way they could have, I mean, that's eliminated, and nothing happened to them in the house, then somebody must have come on the property, right? Because the kids didn't have their coats on. And it was less than 40 Fahrenheit, 3 Celsius around that time. The kids did not go outside. If somebody came to take them, that would be the other option. The only other option if nothing happened in the house, which it did, in my opinion. The dog would have barked. And that is the sensitive area here. That's where they don't want you to go. That's why what she doesn't want you to realize that there is no way anybody could have come on the property, especially now with Daniel's new Kakamemi story. There is no way without the dog making noise.
I raised this is that Daniel said in the CBC interview that he just recently did that, or the CBC had stated that the dog barks at everything.
Yeah.
I can never hear the dog when I get there. The dog's always.
I can, present tense, never hear the dog when I get there. The dog's always.
My grandmother, my aunt always has the dog in her RV. So if I'm not paying attention for the dog, I ain't listening for the dog. So.
Okay.
All right. Okay. I just wanted to sort of clarify that because to me, it sort of presents two different things. One, a dog.
Oh, absolutely.
A dog and I had one of those dogs that literally, seriously, if a leaf moved outside, this thing would explode, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I just wanted to clarify that.
But the whole time that I knew the dog, I never really paid attention to the dog because I'm not.
I never really paid attention to the dog because I am
not really a dog person.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I would say hi to it, but like I'm not personally going there listening.
Subscribers
One more time.
only.
That's what he said about my interview too. He said mine got so spliced and diced.
Yeah, and if he would like to do that, I will send him a gift subscription. He doesn't have to pay for one, and I will give you one. And if you would both like to
How
come
generous.
in, I would love to have you both.
All right, let's keep
Awesome.
moving.
I will get a hold of him
Okay.
and see what he says. I am going to go get my children here
I wanted
soon,
to
so
fix
okay.
this
we'll
one.
have to leave this live.
Okay, one question, Logan.
Poor honey.
You okay, so I'm sure you'll watch his CBC interview.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch it here when I get home from picking up the children.
You had mentioned in my live about his mother's dog in the RV barking just shortly after 9 on Friday the 2nd. And
Yes.
when we were talking about the dog, you had made stated that the dog is really triggered.
And I give you that. I mean, there was more activity probably there at 9 and more people. You know what I mean? But that's the whole thing. Maybe Logan was not as much of a stranger to the dog. Had she been there several times, right? But what if a group of people, Malaya's family, supposedly came up with the car and the dog is not filmed? Oh my God, come on, man. What are you trying to sell us here?
When Lily does that screaming?
Yeah, mainly by Lily screaming and is triggered by the kids.
Yes, because what animal isn't triggered by animals to run when they run around screaming and yelling?
Animals.
Triggered by.
That's how she thought the kids were acting, people. That's why she didn't do anything on that first live. There was nothing about Jack and Lilly, nothing about what they must. It wasn't about Jack and Lilly at all. It was only to protect Daniel. That's the only. Jack and Lilly were Malaya's baggage. And she thought they were acting like animals. And Daniel didn't go as far, but he talked about them being wild with her. Let's not overlook this. Would you make such a slip up if your children were missing? Or children in your family, your nieces, nephews, or anybody?
like his, yeah. And I had asked you the specific. I had said to you, well, wouldn't the dog have barked if somebody walked on the property?
I'm not 100% sure because
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. Exactly. Yes, probably. Be honest. You're not 100%? Then say probably. Yeah, I would think so. That would be the honest answer. Very close to 100%.
Precisely, that's exactly what I was getting at. I couldn't remember precisely your words, but you had said, yeah, I don't know, but you said, I do know that the dog is triggered by the sound of the children.
Yeah.
Okay, and the only reason
I love the way she says, yeah, because she knows something is coming, because it's all on her mind what she's not supposed to talk about. And again, she's brighter than Daniel. Not that much, maybe, but enough for her to be able to hear when something's. She's able to see the trap. Daniel, he falls right into it. You know what I mean? So, yeah, she is like a little smarter version of Daniel here, because let's see, one more time.
raised this is that Daniel said in the CBC interview that he just recently did that, or the CBC had stated that the dog barks at everything.
Yeah.
I can never hear the dog when I get there.
You can never hear the dog when you get there. When I get there. You mean when you just pulled up? Or on your way there? The important part is the getting there. What about when you are there? When you're on the property? Does the dog start barking then?
The dog's always my grandmother. My aunt always has the dog in her.
And also these kind of things, she is thrown off, man. She is thrown off and wants to add something else really, really quickly here to sidetrack away from what just happened and come up with something to minimize the statement that she just made. Like, what is she to you? She's your aunt, right? Daniel's mother, you're the cousin. Yeah, your aunt. Okay. My grandmother, my aunt, she's flustered. First she says, yeah. But in her mind already, she's formulating a longer response. I like the short responses. They're a lot more reliable. Not 100%. That's not a denial. Daniel was asked, did you have anything to do with the disappearance of the children? He said, I 100% did not. He also introduces the 100%. I believe that's exactly the wording. I 100% did not. So even though he's trying to make you think that he didn't have a thing to do with it, it's still interesting. He didn't say, no, I didn't. No, I had nothing to do with it. That it is not anything else than that, anything other than a clear denial. If somebody is asked, did you kill your wife? No, I didn't. No, I didn't kill my wife. I 100% did not is not a reliable denial, people. Something else can go through your mind. When you go into the percentages, you can always have in the back of your mind that a certain percentage of the guilt, you assign it to somebody else as well. As in, you can't put this all on me. That indicated to me that Daniel did have involvement, but in his own mind, it was not only him, which is why he is so upset with Malaya being now just living her life without him. All eyes are on him. And the public is letting Malaya get away with it. From his point of view. That's why Daniel has said the things to remind Malaya, you have a part in this as well. And of course, later he said, oh, please don't attack Malaya. Not because I was wrong in what I said. I was just, no, he doesn't take anything back. He says because she may have mental health issues and it may impact his daughter Meadow. But he didn't take anything back. None of it. So what will she tell us now? My aunt always has the dog in her, in her RV, right? How big is the dog, by the way? Because I know that that dogs, you can hear the walls do not seem too thick there. And you can hear dogs through them.
RV. So if I'm not paying attention for the dog,
if I'm not paying attention for the dog, if I'm not paying attention, let's see.
I ain't listening for the dog.
If I'm not paying attention to the dog, I ain't listening for the dog. Yeah, but that wasn't the question here. If you did listen to the dog, for the dog, and notice the correction here. One more time, people. This is not to be overlooked here, okay? Where was it? Here? Okay.
I can never hear the dog when I get there. The dog's always my grandmother. My aunt always has.
What about once you're there? Again, I'm repeating myself.
The dog in her RV. So if I'm not paying attention for the dog, I ain't listening for the dog.
She's correcting to the dog. If I'm not paying attention to the dog, what is the dog doing that you would be paying attention to? Attention to the dog barking? You're not paying attention to the dog making some, maybe whoa, 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 and then getting a little bit louder. You know how dogs do it when you can hear them. I had neighbors, I had friends like that where, you get closer and closer. You can already hear whoa, 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 and then it gets a little bit louder, and sometimes it gets really, really loud. I'm not paying attention to that. Then that's when you would say, I'm not paying attention to the dog barking, to the sounds the dog is already making. In other words, you would hear the dog already. And paying attention for is not correct English, but what we need to note is that she has a need, because when she says paying attention to, something is on her mind. And that is likely some noise, possibly a lot of noise, that the dog would eventually make once she's getting onto the property, once she's getting closer to the home. And she corrects herself, and there's a need that she feels to do that for the dog. I ain't listening for the dog. That also allows her to tell us that the dog may have been barking, but the way that she uses this is very interesting. She's using something that's grammatically actually incorrect. As in, I ain't paying no mind to this dog. She doesn't tell us what she could have told us. She would have said very clearly, the dog didn't bark when I got on there. I never heard the dog bark. I didn't hear the dog bark. But she didn't say that to us. She wants to minimize it. and allow for the possibility that it could have happened that some strangers or Malaya's relatives would have come onto the property and been able to get the children out of there without the dogs making a sound. Baloney. Baloney. That is why she was already, yeah, like I ain't gonna be the one, to disprove his disprove this nonsense fabrication that should never have made it onto the air, in my opinion, anywhere, that I haven't paid any attention to for a reason, no matter how many people messaged me and said, analyze this person. No, dude. I analyze something where I believe I'm on the right track and get some information, not blatant fabrications. And I can hear the first sentence and I already know. Just like this stupid Sherry Papini interview, the last one, when she says she wants to give her side to the story. She could have said, I'm here to tell you the truth now. No, my side of the story. That's the best she could do to convince you to listen to her. I said, I am not going to listen. I have bigger fish to fry. I don't jump on just anything simply because, no, especially if it's too easy. I'm not going to do it. Right? I'm going to look into the directions that can lead us somewhere and give us some results and tell us something important.
So,
Okay. All right. Okay. I just wanted to
There
sort
we
of clarify that, because to me, it sort of presents two different things. One, a dog.
oh,
that-
absolutely.
A dog that, and I had one of those dogs that literally, seriously, if a leaf moved outside, this thing would explode, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I just wanted to clarify that.
But the whole time,
4 major signs.
that I knew the dog, I never really paid attention to the dog because I'm not a real.
Again, you're not really paying attention to the dog. In other words, he barked a lot. But, he may have barked a lot, but you don't ask me. I'm not going to stick it to Daniel. I'm not going to be the one disproving this nonsense theory that he's trying to promote with the help of somebody else on the internet, because he always complains about people online. So what does he do? He joins them. He joins into the fight. He figures, you know what? A lot of these theories that are out there, yeah, I read them. They are very good things coming from the internet. Very, very good things. Very good. It depends on the person. It's just like life. There are many idiots out there. And there are many people who you communicate with them, you learn. That's the internet. The internet is a reflection of society. Of course, the dumb ones are often more vocal, but now he figures probably, and he's the type that looks at the dumbest ones, most likely, right? The wrongest ones. Oh, I got this one. Ha ha ha. Wrong. I know what happened, but you're wrong. Just like Christopher Proudfoot, when he says it will be amazing when the truth comes out, because a lot of the creators will backpedal or will be put into their place or whatever, because he knows what happened. And he knows when something is wrong, somebody is wrong, in my opinion. And he likes to focus on that. And so does Daniel. So he figures, okay, he sees where people can go wrong. He sees people going wrong, and a lot of people going wrong. He figures, I'm just going to put out my own theory here. I'm just going to come up with some complete BS, and without telling what exactly really happened. Because if that comes out, then I will be in it too. Me and Malaya. But Malaya's protected. She's protected by her tribe. She got a lawyer. She got the CPS is on her side. Well, if that's not a hint, then what is? How about you ask Logan about the old CPS case? That would be interesting, right? And if it's true that Daniel said something like, yeah, the dogs bark at everything, she probably thought, oh God, my dumb little cousin, there he goes again. Or I don't know if he's older, but my dumb cousin, there he goes again. Put his foot in his own mouth. I gotta help him out here. He ain't the brightest, but he just, told us that theory is also BS, also complete nonsense. So, she's in damage control mode. I don't see her. If she only been on a short time, she's probably worn out by it. Maybe she said to him, okay, I'm gonna fix one more thing for you. Was that what your conversation was about, Daniel, with her? You gotta help me out. You know how to talk. All I can do is repeat the same garbage again and again and again, hoping that people will believe me if I say it for a 7th time. You better with words. And he doesn't have a script writer like Katie Proudfoot, right? Chris Proudfoot, no matter how dumb he may be, he has always Katie Proudfoot to you remember when Katie Proudfoot was there talking to the PI in this phone conversation, how Katie was in the back just adding to it. She let Chris talk, but she's adding to it. When they're by themselves, I imagine that Katie comes up with all of the right ideas. Even better. There, she was not, she may not have known she was being recorded. Well, she probably, I don't know if she knew, but she was not as nervous as she would be when she is on a live or if she's in front of the TV cameras especially, right? She was a lot more free than how we have heard her before. But still, imagine how Katie Proudfoot might be when nobody's listening. Right? When nobody is listening. She probably throws out all of these ideas a lot.
Really the dog person.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I do it, but
You're not really a dog person. Well, guess what? That's not saying anything either. That is just another way of sidetracking. Well, I'm not a dog. What? We're not talking about you being a dog person. We're talking about the types of sounds the dog would have made. Again, unnecessary information, always an indicator that something didn't go well before and she's trying to hide something.
like I'm not personally going there listening to see if the dog's barking at me, like, you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. I get
If
it.
I'm not listening for it, and I'm not an animal person myself, so
Yeah. She misspoke, so please don't make any kind of.
And again, that was so unnecessary information again. Yeah, I'm not a dog person. Yes, too much of a percentage spent talking about absolutely nothing and telling us basically why she wants us to believe that possibly she, don't blame me if somebody else says the dog barks at everybody. If people come out and they say, I don't care what this woman said, this dog barks at anything. Like she said, when the leaf is dropping, this dog will bark. She's telling you, okay, I have a way of backpedaling. Well, I didn't pay attention to him. She's making an excuse here. She's giving you a reason why she may be wrong. So she's considering, it's like when somebody says if, your mind goes there. She wants complete deniability here. This is completely unreliable and only done to do damage control.
Nonsense crap about that.
You let me decide what's nonsense, okay? When it comes to statements.
You had said
My grandmother?
No, you had said animals are triggered by animals, and somebody in chat said, "Is she calling Lily an animal?"
Oh my God.
Oh my God, it's right. Yes. Oh, I'm happy that in this chat at least somebody pointed it out. Oh my God, I'm so happy. And of course, this is a form of gaslighting now. Oh my God. Oh my God. Like people pay attention to, oh my God. Oh my. No. We pay attention to everything that you say. Because this is about Jack and Lilly, remember?
No,
I misspoke. I'm sorry.
yeah,
We
That would be
know
my
you
new-
did, but people misspeak all the time. And a lot of times there is leakage there. Misspeaking. And it's not just Sigmund Freud saying that. He was maybe the first one who pointed it out, but we misspeak for a reason. And if you want to know more, think about the times that you have misspoken in life. I can guarantee you that you will find a reason for that. Self-examination can help us tremendously.
meme.
yeah.
That will be your new meme. I'm not going to make that meme, but you see, it's another form of gaslighting. Oh, people on the internet, they're so stupid, they're turning everything into a meme. This is the, even the mild version of gaslighting with Daniel Martell. Yeah, people online and speculation, opinions, same like Chris Proudfoot. No, we're paying attention to you. You put yourself out there.
Yeah, it'll be all over the internet, Logan.
Oh God, listen to these. Listen to these people sucking up to her, unable to detect the deception in Daniel. Or if they detect it, that's even worse. And yes, there was one sentence that's very deceptive. I'm not going to. I listen to the moderators as well. I analyze them as well. And I can see their intention also. And believe me, just because they're saying it and have this person on, it doesn't mean at all that they believe this person. Her little giggle, why? Can you tell Daniel to come on? Because she's thinking about, oh God, now I'm going to be famous. Now I'm going to be known. Right? This opportunity. The same thing, the same with Chris Proudfoot, or the Proudfoots. All these people that in the beginning said, there's so much deception here from and they also, like Cluminati or whatever her name is, the big one. She talked, and her husband was in the back just repeating and laughing on her. Oh my God. It was like a year ago or so, more than a year ago, actually. And talking about how things didn't make sense, that the Proudfoot said. But the moment that they came on, it was a whole different story. So do you think they suddenly see things in a different way? No. They simply enjoy having these people on. They have this alleged family member of Malaya's on. And now, of course, some people say, no, he was really the vampire. I don't care if he is or not. Because people will listen. And again, people have sent it my way. I don't reply. I don't want to say what I want to say. If you listen to it, that's up to you. But don't think I need to spend my energy and time on everything, no matter how ridiculous it might be.
Can't be any worse than what everybody else is saying. It's fine. I offered to spit.
Uh-oh. What's that? This is probably finished now.
Animals are triggered by animals, and somebody in chat said, "Is she calling Lily an animal?"
Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
No,
I misspoke. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That will be my new meme.
Yeah, it'll be all over the internet.
Look how dismissive she is, man. Listen to her. She is such an open book to me. Of course, she thinks she's very smart. She probably, while she's conversing with Daniel, so she probably, after every phone call, she's like, oh my God, I didn't know how smart I am, how bright I am. But you're not. You're easy to see through. You're damage control act. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing. Sometimes I feel like I feel like taking a break. And then I hear some complete nonsense like that. I'm like, oh, no, 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 no. And yes, this is nonsense, but she is important to me because she has more knowledge than most about this case. She's doing damage. She feels a need to do this damage control for Daniel. That means she knows that there's something that he needs to hide.
That Logan.
Can't be any worse than what everybody else is saying.
Can't be any worse than what everybody else is saying. Oh, it's a lot worse than what everybody else is saying. This is a big one. Again, this is an attempt to gaslight the person who pointed it out. And gaslighting is also noted. When that is being done, something is being hidden. You wouldn't feel a need to put so much wording behind it. You would say, oh my God, I'm so sorry. No, of course not. No, did I say this really? Did I really say this? No, that's not what no. There's too much wording here. She feels too much of a need to explain not even explain it, but unable to explain it because deep inside, when we misspeak, we know that there is something about what we feel that we don't want people to know that we feel. And she immediately points a finger at everybody else. It can't be any worse than what everybody else is saying. Always pointing the finger immediately at other people, rather than sticking to the subject. Daniel does it. Christopher Proudfoot does it all the time. Christopher Proudfoot is actually a great training tool for everything that a person with guilty knowledge and not too much of a brain to filter him is going to say. And if you're interested in I will, yes, now I'm really thinking about starting a member section. I will have to spend a lot of time on it, people, and put up real classes with my plate system. But let me know if you're interested. You can let me know in the comment section or live chat and give me, I'll play it by ear. But I want those people who are interested, really interested, to have the opportunity to learn a lot more and dig a lot deeper without it bothering the general audience. Because a lot of people that come to me, they don't, there's a limit. Some people, they want the long videos. Other people just want the shorter ones and just a little summary. So maybe I will do the shorter ones for the public and the longer ones in the private section. I haven't decided yet. I am going to talk to some people close to me and see what they think about it, because I want to do it right. I want to do it so private detectives and everybody that's, everybody, no matter on what level you want to learn, how advanced or how just the basic stuff for people like private investigators to do, to get a better idea and help them in terms of understanding which direction to look at, where you have the reliable denials, where you have the sensitivities, the avoidances, and be able to detect intentions of a person, which also goes into business emails and the analysis of communication in general. So I'm still working on it. I'm still thinking about it. I'm still in this wide spectrum called the middle of it. So
It's fine. I offered to spit in a cup the other day.
Oh yeah, I heard about that. She's offered to spit in the cup because somebody said, look at this. Somebody said, I don't know if Logan is really a relative of Daniel's. Yeah, you hear these stupid things. Yes, of course she is. Of course, that's his cousin, right? But she focuses on the stupidest things that she can easily deny and make fun of. Same way like Chris Proudfoot. One comment, somebody claims that his family owned a funeral home, and he immediately, that's what he focuses on, spends his time on. Not the important questions that he's unable to answer. And it's good because there you can compare the reliable deniers or how he reacts when something is really wrong compared to how he reacts when he is caught with his pants down.
Oh no.
Oh no.
They asked.
Why? What happened?
Oh, because there's a group on Facebook with my Facebook profile saying, oh, do we even know if they're really related to Daniel and this, that, and the other thing?
Oh.
And all this stuff. And I said, would you like me to spit in a cup and send it to you?
Right.
I said, do
right.
you want my birth certificate? Do you what would you like? Because this ain't something to lie about.
Where do you think Jack and Lilly are, Logan? Back to what I just said. If it didn't happen in the house, Daniel and Malaya were not, and nobody could have come there. No, something must have happened there. What do you think happened to them? They're not in the woods. They couldn't have walked away. You think somebody got them? Are you worried about them? How could somebody have gotten them, though? With the dog, you just told us you felt a need to explain to us why you may not have been able to hear the dog, or why you're building an excuse already, a deniability that the dog could have barked. That tells me the dog, you would have noticed. I know when I visit people, oh, there's this dog, especially if you're not a dog person. If you're not a dog person, trust me, you will notice a dog barking. If you're not a dog person, it may be because you had a bad experience as a child. And when you hear a dog, you notice it as an annoyance. And yeah, you can say, okay, I'm not paying attention to it because this dog is inside of the RV. I'm safe from this dog. Yes, I had a bad experience as a child with a dog. I'm wary of dogs. And to this day, when I hear a dog bark, I do react in a certain way. Again, it depends on the size of the dog. But there's a trigger in me. There is a self-defense mechanism that kicks in. And that's why she told us why it would be possible for somebody to come up and say this dog barked all the time. Maybe not always the same volume, but this dog barked all of the time. She is wrong. And then she can say, well, I didn't pay attention for the dog. I mean, she felt a need to correct herself here. Because she didn't want us to think that she didn't pay attention to the dog's barking when she was on the property. Maybe not always when she just got there. Not when she was on her way. Not yet on the property. But every time that she was actually on there, that eventually the dog would make noise. Nice damage control, Logan.
Yeah. I mean, it took me about 2.5 weeks ago.
Stop that.
Stop. Thank you guys for watching. I'm Mike the Man. I see you next time.